Welcome to Signal to Noise. Today in the studio we have singer-songwriter Jewel. So your father was in the music industry. If he wasn't in the music industry, do you think you would have gone down the same road?
You know, I actually never thought I was going to become a professional musician as in a recording artist. My grandmother and my grandfather actually came over from Germany. She was an opera singer, and she gave up opera singing because the war was going on and she wanted to have kids in a new country in a free land. So she gave up her opera career and raised 8 kids in the wilderness of Alaska. But she taught them all to sing, and they all write their own songs and they all play their own instruments. So when you sit around a campfire at my house in Alaska, everybody's singing original material. I grew up singing with my dad in bar rooms. We were duets since I was 8.
Yeah.
We sang in honky tonks and, you know, lumberjack joints and, you know, bank openings. We just made a living. Like,
yeah.
you know, it wasn't like some big glamorous thing. It was just a way that we made a living, and I practiced hard. And when I ended up singing in San Diego, it wasn't because I was trying to get signed. I just was down and out. I was homeless at the time, and that was the one way I knew, like, oh, you know, I can maybe get some cash if I get a local following and a local gig, and that's all I was looking for. I wasn't, you know, doing demos, trying to
Why'd
get
you decide to move down to San Diego?
A roundabout story. I ended up going to school. I got a full scholarship in Michigan at a prestigious arts high school. And then I ended up moving to San Diego because I had a friend down there and it was warm. And
maybe it's better than having 24 hours of daylight. Was that hard to do?
24 hours of daylight is good. 24 hours of darkness is bad.
That's true. And does it have both?
Yes, definitely. Alaska is really dark in the winter. And I grew up on a ranch, so we had a coal stove for heat that would go out in the middle of the night. So I used to wake up with frost on my eyelashes. And
no way.
Oh, yeah. We'd have to start the fire every morning. We had an outhouse that would be frozen. Cooked for my brothers, milked cows. We had to walk 2 miles out to even get to a road to be able to hitchhike into school.
So when your parents were like, I walked in the snow to school, they weren't lying.
No, I get to tell my kids one day, like, it was uphill both ways because there was a canyon, so it really was uphill both ways.
That is so funny. Well, that's really humbling. I mean, do you kind of appreciate everything now more because of how you grew up?
I take it for granted all the time.
No, I figured that. You looked like you were a person.
No, it was weird. You know, like I said, I didn't ever think I was going to be some, you know, selling artist, selling records. I ended up in San Diego. I had a job answering phones at a computer warehouse, and my boss took me aside one day, and he was having this talk with me, and I realized halfway through the talk that he was asking me to have sex with him.
Oh,
so
wow.
I did. No, I'm just kidding.
So I did, and that's where I got to where I am
That's where I got, yes, with the computer salesman. No, it's a horrible thing to joke about. I'm going to be persecuted for this. No, I turned him down, and my rent was due the next day. My landlord was a nice guy, but I was late so often in my rent. He was like, if you're late one more time, I'm going to kick you out. So I went into work the next day.
Yeah.
For my paycheck. My boss wouldn't give it to me. He was really mad at me because I wouldn't sleep with him. He wouldn't even talk to me or even acknowledge that I came in the building, and he wouldn't give me my paycheck. So I got kicked out of where I was living, and I didn't have first and last month's rent to get another apartment. So I thought, well, I'll live in my car until I can get, you know, some money together to get another apartment. And then I got sick kidneys, and I couldn't afford medication. I couldn't afford insurance. I almost died in the parking lot of an emergency room because, you know, they wouldn't see me. And it was just, that's when I was like, well, you know, I know how to sing. Maybe I'll just start writing songs. And I started writing and singing locally, and it was 2 people that came, and then 10 people, and then 100. And
oh my gosh.
A radio station came, and they bootlegged a song and put it on the radio, and then a record label in LA said, who's this girl?
Were you excited about that?
It was
probably
wild.
At that time now you'd be pissed.
No, it was great. I was excited. You know, it was like being Cinderella, you know. You're homeless, and all of a sudden, you know, limousines are showing up and taking me to dinner that cost more than I spent in a year, and, you know, all sorts of labels wanted me, and it was like a feeding frenzy. It was really wild.
How long did it take you to kind of understand your place in the industry and understand, okay, this is a good deal, this isn't a good deal? I mean, you're a single girl, you were all by yourself, you had so much thrown at you at such a young age. That's kind of scary.
The one thing I knew I cared about was songwriting. I didn't think I had the personality to be famous. I'm a pretty introverted person. I'm actually pretty shy. I like watching people more than I like being watched.
Yeah.
I wasn't ever that girl that liked walking into a room and having all eyes on me, and I was really kind of torn about the whole thing. obviously intrigued, and I signed with a label that basically was going to let me make a very simple singer-songwriter record, which was not cool. You know, grunge was happening.
Yeah.
Radio was with Spice Girls and, you know, things
Yeah.
like that. My music wasn't cool, and I thought, well, maybe I'll get a cult following like John Prine or Tom Waits and tour and make a living, and that was kind of my goal, and I went with a label that wasn't going to try and change me. And then, you know.
We have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more Jewel.